The first rape case I did was back in February of 1986. It involved a young woman who was about my age at the time. I was in my middle to late 20s. The guy took the skylight off her bathroom on the roof and dropped in and came in her bedroom and raped her. And 2 days later, she picked his photo out of mugshots. And 2 years later, the police finally were able to find him. And she came back and she looked at a lineup and she was so emotional. I was taken back, I guess, because it had happened 2 years earlier. The way she had dealt with this was to kind of stick it down low and just say, I don't need, any counseling. I'm strong. I'm an Ivy League grad. And then when she looked at the lineup and picked him out, it all bubbled back to the surface. And after she testified, we took a break and I walked her to the elevator and she said to me, I don't even care what happens. I feel so good that I got to say what happened to me. I got to point my finger at that guy and say in so many words, you bastard, you raped me. And I feel so much better. So whether we win or lose, you don't have to call me. We did win, and so I called her, and of course she was ecstatic that we had won. And after that case, I was hooked. Anybody I grew up with is kind of surprised where I ended up. I mean, I was unbelievably straight and a little prudish, and I have to tell you honestly, I never uttered the P word, as I called it, until I put that case I told you about in the grand jury. I think the greatest challenge in prosecuting a sex crime is that 80% of sexual assault happens between people who know each other. And most of the public doesn't know that, and the public is our jury pool. So when they come to court and they hear these people know each other, they immediately have an attitude like, this can't be real, this didn't really happen.
What was the most dramatic case you ever tried?
It has to be a guy named John Royster. John Royster, when he was 22 years old, went on this crime spree that's still unbelievable to me after the 26 years I've worked the DA's office. Before this crime spree, the only thing he had done wrong in his life was jump a turnstile. And at 22, on June 4th of 1996, he grabbed a young woman walking in Central Park at 10:04 in the afternoon. From behind, knocked her down, smashed her head into the ground, turned her over, smashed the back of her head in the ground, left her in a coma, raped her, and robbed her, and took all her ID. He did the same thing to another woman the next night who was jogging at the heliport on the east side. He did it to a third woman a few nights later up in Yonkers as she was walking across a footbridge over the Major Deegan. And a few days after that, he grabbed a 65-year-old grandmother as she was opening her dry cleaning store on Park Avenue and smashed her similarly. And before he could rape her, somebody came along and scared him off, but she ended up dying. We caught him because the detectives recovered some bloody fingerprints at the scene of the murder, and they ran them in their computerized fingerprint system. And it matched his fingerprints from that one theft of service arrest he had for jumping the turnstile. When I came to the DA's office, they asked me, how is a nice little girl from the suburbs going to do this job? And I told them that I was used to bucking people. I had played sports that were traditionally boy sports. I had played basketball and softball. I played tennis as well, but I played 3 varsity sports all through high school. When I went to Dartmouth, my freshman year was the first year they had 3 classes of women there. There were 3,000 men and 1,000 women, and while they liked us as freshmen, by the time you were a sophomore, you were cohogs at Dartmouth. And so while I loved Dartmouth, it was not the easiest place to go those couple of years. You had to be tough. So I think, I was tough, and I was tough on the basketball court, and I'm tough in the courtroom.